Hey everyone, this is Gym Leader Griffin here, back with my first video on this channel. Although I've uploaded to other channels previously, this is my first Pokemon-centric channel. I'm going to be live streaming my first playthrough of every generation of Pokemon games. Now I say first playthrough, I've played them back when I was a kid, growing up, all the way through college, but I haven't really gone and revisited these games, so this will be my first experience re-experiencing these games and challenging what I thought of the games when I was growing up. But before I do that, I want to give my tier list of what I think of each generation of Pokemon games and see how that changes as I play them as an adult now. So first, let's jump over the tier list. Let's see, we first start off with Gen 1. Now Gen 1 is always a special case, you know, it's the starting point, so maybe we should just throw this. You know, they did a really good job. From my memory, I really love these games. I'm gonna put it in A tier, not an S tier. There's one specific gen that goes into S tier for me. Maybe it's the same for everyone else, maybe it's different for everyone else, who knows. But this is where I put Gen 1, solid A tier. Pokemon are great, the systems are great, just everything I remember about it, really great for a first entry into the series. Let's see, Gen 2. Now I know a lot of people really love Gen 2, but for me, at least in my memory as a childhood, I think I have to put it B tier. It's pretty good, just didn't live up to the hype of Gen 1. I say hype, I mean I was, 5 years old, 6 years old, but it wasn't as special to me as playing the original Red and Blue. I played Blue, my sister played Red, and playing Yellow. And I did enjoy Gen 2, but it wasn't the same. But for Gen 3, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I'm throwing it in S tier. Now the reason why, so when I played Ruby when I was in elementary school, my sister played Sapphire. I spent so much time just playing through the game after school every day, just the memories, and then after re-experiencing it through Emerald is probably in my top 10 favorite games of all time. Now I have not gone back and played Emerald again since I've been an adult. That's purely an elementary school timed Pokemon game for me. So I'm really excited to re-experience Emerald now, probably, I don't know, 20 years removed. But yeah, from my memory, this generation was peak. Then we also will have Fire Red and Leaf Green, also just remaking the originals. And yeah, this was a great time to be a Pokemon fan, at least in my memory. Next, we have this. We have Diamond and Pearl, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Now before I place this, I do have to caveat that I have not played Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I am not sure why I haven't. I did play Diamond and Pearl, but I know that I was a bit let down from Sinnoh. I really like Sinnoh, but I think coming off of Emerald, I was so high on Emerald that I think it was just almost impossible to live up to it. So I think for now, just based off my childhood memory, I'm going to place this in A tier. Still in A tier, still really good for my memory, but not as high as what got me into the series of Gen 1, and definitely not the peak of Gen 3. And I think maybe a spoiler alert, I'm probably not going to include anything else into the S tier. I think S tier is now off limits. I think that's exclusive to Gen 3. Next we have Gen 5, Black and White. Black and White, and then after this one, this one is a little bit difficult to rate for me. I honestly want to go to the front of A tier, but that's already 3 games in A tier. You know what? I can adjust it later. I do want to put it at the front of A tier. I remember when I first played this game, experiencing the story in this game. I was like, oh wow, this is quite different from what we've gotten previously. And yeah, this was a pretty big turning point in terms of Pokemon development, I feel. Development for the better. And so, at least from my memory, it's not as strong of a memory as, let's say, the early gens were, but I still really love this gen. So I think I have to go A tier. XY. Ooh, XY. XY was the first 3D Pokemon game. We also get Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. I liked this gen. Now, even though the placement where I'm going to place it seems like I don't like it, I did really enjoy these games. I really liked X and Y. I really liked Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those games are really cool. They weren't quite as good as Emerald, but I still really enjoyed them. I think they're going into B tier definitely, but I'm trying to figure out whether I want above or below. I'm going to put them below for now, but I feel pretty comfortable here. But now we get to 7. We have Sun and Moon, Let's Go. Let's Go, I only played a little bit, so I can't really judge based on Let's Go. I do want to actually play through Let's Go though. As far as Sun and Moon, I liked Sun and Moon. I spent a lot of time playing Sun and Moon because I really wanted a shiny Litten, which I did get. It only took about, I think, 2 weeks of soft resetting for me to get. I was in university though, and by the time I got the shiny Litten, I was just like going through the motions of the game. So I think the experience of how I went through the games sort of hindered my enjoyment of it. So I do think, unfortunately, because of how I experienced it, I am going to have to place it at the final spot at B tier. I don't think it goes to C tier. I don't think any game has been bad enough to go down to C, but I do think that this is probably a low. Actually, I might honestly put it at C tier for now. It's not a D tier for sure. It's not D tier, but yeah, I think I have to put it at C tier. And maybe that's my own fault, but I did enjoy the games overall. I did enjoy the story, although I kind of wish that the actual player character had more involvement in the story rather than it being more focused on Lily. But I mean, I love Lily as a character, so I guess I'll take it. But Gen 8. You know, something has to go in D. And it unfortunately is this series of games. It just wasn't fun for me. I was expecting, you know, Switch Pokemon games to be super cool. I tried Sword and Shield. They just weren't for me. And maybe if I replay them, maybe they'll be good. I'm not sure. But for me, these Sword and Shield, I just couldn't. I didn't even finish the games. These were the first Pokemon games I just never finished. At mainline games, I didn't finish Let's Go. I haven't finished some other Pokemon games, but yeah, these were the first ones I never finished. I didn't play Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I heard they were atrocious. Maybe I'll re-experience them playing on this channel, but and then now this is going to be a hot take. Pokemon Legends Arceus, I also didn't like. It took me a really, really long time to actually finish that game. And I don't know if it's because there's no voice acting despite the cutscenes or something else, I don't know. But there was something about the gameplay flow that just didn't work for me. And maybe it's because I really enjoy turn-based action games. I really love the Persona series. I really love Pokemon. I really love, like, you know, old school Final Fantasy. So going into Legends Arceus and not really having battle mechanics, it's more so focused on the catching. I don't know. It just didn't work. And then after, I think, the graphics, the load times, it just was really annoying to go through. And I could only play for maybe like 1 hour or 2 hours before feeling really tired. And so yeah, I think this Gen 8, just has to go in D tier. It's definitely my least favorite. And as you'll notice with this list, pretty much seems like my peak was early gens, and then after, as it goes forward and forward and forward, they continue to go down, down, down. But what about Gen 9? Gen 9, we have Scarlet and Violet, and I'll also count Legend ZA, although I'm still playing through Legend ZA myself. For this gen, I really enjoyed this. I don't think it's A tier, but I do think it's a solid B tier. Now, where in B tier? I think it's probably below, it's probably in between, it's probably in the middle for me. But I actually really enjoyed this, and I don't know if it's because I played with my sister. We were actually able to play together, which was really cool. And I just think the progression of the game was really cool. It really felt like it was going back to basics in terms of Pokemon. You had actual gyms or gym-like things, but you also had a lot of other things that you could do in the game. There were things like, oh, if you want to catch Pokemon, legendary Pokemon, you can go do these quests. If you want to go battle, like, you know, the enemy gang, you can go do those missions. If you want to do the more traditional gym route, you can go do that. And it just gave you a lot of freedom, which I really liked. And so, yeah, I really like that. And as far as ZA goes so far, I'm not too far in the game, but I mean, I think it's pretty cool so far, especially I'm playing on Switch 2. So I think the performance is really good there. The graphics look pretty good. So overall, I think Gen 9 is just really strong so far. I don't think it's amazing like the A tier games, and I don't think it's like bad like the C tier. Well, I wouldn't say C tier games are bad, but I think that Gen 9 so far has been getting closer to the type of quality that I'm looking for in Pokemon. Now, the one thing that I really want in future Pokemon games is voice acting. If you're going to have fully animated cutscenes, I don't mind if there's no voice acting if you aren't going for more realistic presentation. But when you're starting to do fully animated cutscenes, I think, okay, you can splurge a tiny bit and spend money on voice actors. It's not like the Pokemon Company or Nintendo are hurting for money, especially coming from Pokemon. So, that's just my 2 cents though. This is my tier list for all the generations. This of course doesn't include all the weird spin-off games like Colosseum, like Gale of Darkness, like Pokken Tournament, games like that, or even mobile games like Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Pocket, things like that. But for the mainline games, or at least what people consider the mainline games, here's my tier list. What do you think? Where do you completely differ from me? Where do you completely agree with me? What do you think is going to change for my opinion when I play the games now as a 30-year-old? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to be uploading a lot more content on this channel, doing live streams, and doing a lot of content solo, but also with my sister, and we're sort of just going to re-experience these games and have a lot of fun. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video or live stream. See ya.